Hi guys, so this is video 12 of Duke and Prince, and today we're going to be looking at long lining. So how I start my young horses off on the long lines. It'll be mainly of Duke because little Prince is still growing, and I just want him to have that little bit more time to mature, build up his strength and his muscles. So hopefully you enjoy. There is, guys, my Sam Turner Dressage page and obviously my website, samturnerdressage.co.uk. So if you want to see more of my in-hand work and how I set mine up before I start all this work, then obviously you can go and have a nosy over there. So, hope you enjoy. So guys, here's my setup. This picture was taken of Duke after he'd been long lining for quite some time. So you can see my roller. I've got the side reins on just so they touch his sides, but they're not actually attached to him, they're just on the roller. The long lines are through the ring and the lines are on the bit. Now I took my time and I started off with the long lines on the halter, not the bit, until I made sure that he was confident and I had a light stop before I started fiddling around with his mouth. So here, if you've seen the tacking up videos, you'd appreciate this little clip that's going to come up. But here I've got the roller on and I've got a tail bandage round. So I built up to the fact that I tied it both sides and I could build his confidence up with things to the side of him and behind him and touching him. This really was a big deal for this pony, and it's taken me weeks and weeks to build his confidence up without frightening him. And you'll see some clips here where, again, I've just been playing around, trying to get his confidence, and you can see what I was dealing with at the beginning. You know, look at the ripples in his neck, his eye. He was so worried about anything different, anything touching him. But, you know, we've got there and we've come out the other side. It's just patience and time. So here you can see everything I start with Duke is all about kind of being grounded, really concentrating on my energy, being really calm, quiet around him, making sure that he softens, he bends left and right before I do anything. So I can tell what sort of mindset he's in and how he's feeling. You can tell by a horse's eye, but it's also good just to check in that they're not holding their breath and holding their bodies. So again, guys, I've taken my time in building up to what I'm going to show you here, but I've had the side reins attached to the roller, not attached to the mouth, but just so he's got things touching his sides. I've had chains hanging off the sides. Obviously, we've done lots of agility and plastic bags on his sides, really building confidently up to this. And you'll see here that I'm throwing the lunge line over his body. Again, I started in the stable just putting ropes over him and moving ropes round him. And then I've built up to coming into the arena and throwing the rope over, bouncing it around. And you know, this was a really big deal. There was no way I was going to put a set of long lines on this pony until I knew that things could touch his sides confidently. What I didn't want to do was have him bolting, frightening, you know, running away, being frightened, pulling on his mouth. So again, you'll see that everything's attached to the halter. I started off with everything just on the halter. Bouncing around, I use different coloured lunge lines. I use different weighted lunge lines. But really kind of working on, can I throw the rope over and can he still stop off the whistle? Now there he's lost concentration and is looking up at elsewhere, public footpath. But it was important for me, like here, I'm just going to say, come on, back in the room, lower your head, listen to me. So I've gone back towards him, lowered him down, good pony, little pat, and then we'll start again. But it was important that he could still understand my cues. And I think as I asked for different things of this pony, as I've worked up the levels, he then loses his mindset. So as I asked for something new, he'd forget that he couldn't stop off the whistle. So I'd have to go back a step again, get the stop start, get the cues back in, and then work back on what I was doing. And you know, that's a really good indicator for me to work out whether he was comfortable with the new thing that I've asked. And actually here he is. You know, you can see that I can flick the rope around, I'll whistle to stop and he'll come back to me. And you'll notice that I've got lots of things in the arena. So the little cones there, they're like little rugby football cones. He can tread on them, they're plastic, they're perfectly safe. We've got some poles out. So each day I might set the arena up with different things so that he's got to not only concentrate on me, but focus on what may be around in the arena. And again, it's just things to look at. So here I've asked him to stop. So that's off the whistle. And then I'm using my energy. I'm looking down at his feet and I'm driving him away to change the rein. So again, I made sure that I could stop and he would stay out before I then taught him to change the rein from lead to drive. So here I'm just going to go the other way. And again, just play around with the rope. And you can see I'm just bouncing it. And again, I haven't got videos of this, guys, but I have jumped around, you know, star jumps whilst lunging, going behind him, going to the side of him. Now, here's another video or another picture clip of the saddle with the stirrups. So once I've got his confidence with what I was doing, I would then move on towards the saddle, a pair of stirrups. I always tie my stirrups underneath so they can't go back and they can't come out. One, it keeps the lines more secure, but also it's more confident for them. And you'll see here a little clip of me long lining, lunging, but everything's attached to the halter. So I might attach it to the side so I can encourage flexion. So here I've now got the reins on the bit. Now I might have done some work already off the halter, and then I might just pop the reins onto the bit and do a little bit of flexion work while he's stationary. Once he's already done something and I know that he's listening and he's stopping lightly. Don't put the rein straight on the bit because I don't want to be pulling around in the mouth. I want to know that I've got that stop start and everything's light before I encourage the reins. So here you can just see I'm just gently flexing, and again it's important for me that he can do this without moving. It took quite some time. Every time I asked for flexion he moved his feet like that. Again, I'll just ask him to stop. If he really didn't understand, I might go back to the front end, back him up off the halter, and then re-ask. If he was really cheeky, I might turn it into disengaging and spin him. But at this stage, I've got through that. So again, it's just a different angle, showing you how I'm flexing, softening him. And it's just, I want the neck soft, I want the pole and the jaw soft, so that eventually when I get on, I can keep that feeling. And there's nothing worse than that feeling of getting on and you feel like you've got no mouth, the neck set, the jaw set. So I've had to put a huge amount of time into doing this because it really was a big deal for him. He would hold his breath, go rigid in the neck and the mouth. Here is a little clip, and I'll show you twice, of how I gather my reins back up so that I've got that control at all times. Here's a nice quick video of me making a fuss of him. So I've done some work, I've softened him, flexed him left and right, and now I'm going to gather everything back up. And you can see that I don't do anything. Once he's got his confidence with the ropes, I get on with it. So he needs the snakes around his legs, over his body. You know, as I drag them across the floor, he's got to see them and get used to not spooking at them. Touching the back of his pasterns, you know, it's all these things are really important. And again, nice park for me to pick their feet out. They always have their feet picked out before they leave the arena. So I'm really pleased with how we're getting on so far. But guys, this has taken weeks and weeks to get to this stage. So now I'm long lining, and you can see that I'm behind him. I might go to the side of him. I might jump to the other side of him. But again, I would always start probably at the very beginning off the halter. So I'd have the clips on the sides by his nose. I've got nice light clips that I can put on, a nice rope halter, because he understands that. That's how I've trained him at the beginning with all the groundwork. And as you can see here, I've then moved on to the bit. But at any stage, if I've asked for a stop and he hasn't stopped, I might turn him sharper, ask for the stop again, and then I'd go back to picking the lines up and my in-hand work again to make sure that he's really listening to my cues and he's stopping lightly. I don't want him pulling and tucking under. Once I've got all the confidence, I've moved up to some pole work. Sometimes I'll walk behind him over the pole. Sometimes I might walk to the side of him. But you can see here he's getting quite confident. I've got a nice length of frame. I don't have any side reins on. I always start them off without so that I can bend and flex if they have a panic. If you've got side reins on, guys, and they have a panic, you can't turn. You can't pull them in to slow them down. And the last thing that, you know, the worst thing for this pony is to feel restricted at the moment. So everything has been done without side reins. They're on the roller because it's good to have them touching your sides. But yeah, we've done everything this way to start with. So really pleased with this. Just nice straight lines. Again, lots of transitions, lots and lots and lots of transitions and flexions, making sure he just stays soft and relaxed. Then I've moved on, and this is, you know, a good month and a half down the line, onto some flexions. Again, I might have started off with the reins, as you can see here, where the outside rein is on, the inside rein isn't tucked in, so it's like a lunge on the inside and long rein on the outside, and that just helps me with flexion. It also helps him with confidence, and this has really helped working towards canter. So here we've got both boys on an outing, so we're just encouraging them to lower pressure and release before we start. Prince came along to have an outing and to get some confidence, get some life experience. Kerry, my old groom from Hertfordshire here, is doing some funky videoing. She's always known for this, very good. Now this is quite a while down the line, and I'm working on turning the quarters. So obviously I've taught him this about pressure and release and moving away from the pressure in hand first. So now he's learning to move away from the long lines. What I want to do here is encourage him to come away from that. So eventually it will be my leg, but also to get a better flexion and, you know, just give them some more tools. So here I've asked for a stop, and we've hired an arena at Allens Hill, and they've got show jumping on in the arena that he's watching, which is good, you know, it's all really good practice. So I'm going to ask for a light back up. Again, he's got this lightly in hand first, and I also started off doing it off the halter, not the long lines. We do have another horse in the arena being ridden, which is super. You can't see that, but it's just really good practice. And I like to hire the arenas and do the long lining and in hand work before I ride them, just to see where they are. But here's a really nice little clip of him learning to wall and then quarter turn. Now, normally you'd set them up where the hind leg is ready to step under, but he's done enough of this now that he understands. Little bit too much pressure on the rein, don't like it when they tuck under, but I'm going to make a big fuss of him, and I'll show you this again in slow motion. But you can see it's all about a little touch of the rope, and also I used my voice. So is to step across, is to halt. So he's learned those cues. Now this isn't a great video, guys. I think I've tucked the video into my belt, but this is me working once I've got my control and I feel like I've got my stop, and he's confident with what we're doing. I'll move on to long lining in the field where I'm behind fencing, and then I'll work on, once I really feel confident, maybe hacking long lining out around the farm. So here you can see I've got a very loose set of side reins on, just because I want him to learn that when he goes on the grass he doesn't eat. So they're just there to give him a little bit of guidance, and obviously I've built up to these. I got too hot, so my jumper's over his back tied on. Again, good practice of different things, but I'm really pleased with this. And it is very windy, but I thought I'd leave it in so you can hear me talking to him. And then we're going to work on some corner poles again, working on flexion. And, you know, Duke's really needed the left outside rein on the right rein to really encourage him to not swing his quarters out. And the first step through the poles was a little bit tentative. That was much better. He really pushed through. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe to my channel. It's all free. It's all there just to help you guys. If you click on the bell, then we can inform you when new videos come in. And again, if you can like and share, that would be great. It's really nice to share our tips, tools and ideas. Every day is a school day. So look forward to seeing you all in video 13. Thanks very much. Goodbye.